used to think joy was something you earned, like a prize at the end of a very long, very exhausting race. Cross the finish line, get your joy. Trophies waiting for you at the end. But here's what nobody told me. The race doesn't end, y'all. It just doesn't end. There's always another lap, another hurdle, another almost there. And somewhere around month 6, I realized I hadn't laughed, really laughed, in weeks. Not because I was depressed, because I was surviving. And survival doesn't make room for joy. So let's talk. If you're new here, my name is Vanessa, and this is Ways of Change, where we talk about what it really looks like to start over with faith, strategy, and a whole lot of it's all figure-outable. This is part 3 of our series, The Waiting Cost. And we've talked about what waiting does to your mind, how you leave mentally before you can leave physically. We've talked about what it does to your relationships, the ones waiting steals from you. Today is about something I didn't see coming, something I didn't even realize I'd lost until it was almost gone. Y'all, today we're talking about joy. What waiting costs your joy? And I promise you, this one's going to hit differently. So here's what I realized. I had been running a script in my head. Maybe you have too. It goes like this. I'll be happy when the job comes through. I'll be happy when I'm in Mauritius. I'll be happy when the waiting is over. I'll be happy when I'm finally standing on that island looking over the Indian Ocean. And I could say, I made it. Sounds familiar? Anybody else got that script? Yeah, I thought so. But here's what nobody tells you. And every I'll be happy when is just a I'll be joyful never. Because there's always another when. There's always another condition. There's always another finish line that moves 2 steps further every time you get close. But hold on. Let me say that again because I need for y'all to really hear it. I'll be happy when it's just a I'll be joyful never. Because the when never comes. Not really. Not in the way you think. So I had to learn something the hard way. I had to learn the difference between happiness and joy. And friends, they're not the same thing. Happiness is circumstantial. Happiness depends on what's happening. Good day, happy. Bad day, not happy. Job comes through, happy. Job falls through, not happy. Happiness is like the weather. It changes with the forecast. But joy is positional. Joy depends on where you're standing, not what's happening around you. Joy says, I know who holds my future, and that's enough. Even when things aren't good, joy doesn't need the circumstance to change. Joy just needs the position to be right. So our spiritual anchor for today is Nehemiah 8:10. It says, the joy of the Lord is your strength. Not the joy of the Lord is your reward. Not the joy of the Lord is what you get at the end. Your strength. You need it now, my friend, not later, now, while you're waiting, while you're in the middle, while nothing is resolved and everything is uncertain. So let's take a few minutes to examine how waiting kills joy. How does waiting actually steal your joy? Because it's not like someone walks up to you and takes it. It's not a robbery. It's more like a slow leak. Like a tire you don't notice is flat until you're sitting on the rim. I found 3 ways, 3 thieves, if you will. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't want to name these. I didn't want to look at them. But healing starts with the naming. So let's name them. The first thief is survival mode. When you're in a waiting season, especially a long one, your whole system shifts. Your nervous system shifts into get through it mode. You stop noticing small pleasures because your brain is scanning for threats, not gifts. It's looking for what's wrong, what's next, what needs fixing. I caught myself doing this. I was so focused on the next application, the next email, the next interview, the next update, that I stopped tasting my food. I stopped noticing the sky. I was alive, but I wasn't living. I was functioning. There's a big difference between functioning and living. But what if survival mode isn't a season? What if it's become your default setting? What if you get so good at just surviving that you forget how to live? That's what waiting does. It trains you to endure instead of enjoy. Now the second thief, this one is sneaky. It's what I like to call the comparison tax. Waiting makes you watch other people's lives. Social media becomes a highlight reel of everyone who isn't waiting. She got the job. He moved. They got married. She's already there. And you're still here. Still waiting. Still in the middle. And here's the thing about comparison. It doesn't just steal your contentment. It steals your joy. Because joy can't coexist with resentment. You can't be joyful and jealous at the same time. It's like trying to hold water in a cup with a hole in it. The comparison is the hole. If you've ever scrolled past someone else's celebration and felt your stomach drop, like, good for them, but, when is it my turn? You know exactly what I'm talking about. That's the comparison tax. And it's expensive, y'all. It costs you the one thing you need the most. Your joy. The third thief is the most insidious one, the sneakiest one. I call it joy guilt. And this is the belief that you don't deserve joy while you're waiting. I'm supposed to be struggling. I'm supposed to be focused. If I enjoy something, if I laugh, if I have a good day, if I let myself feel happy, I'm not taking this seriously enough. I'm not respecting the weight of what I'm going through. Yeah, I grew up seeing it, watching it, almost adopting it by osmosis. This belief that if you were suffering, you were doing it right. That pain equaled devotion. That the more miserable you were, the more God knew you were serious. I didn't choose it. I just absorbed it, like the air in the room. But nowhere in the scripture does God say, be miserable and wait for me to fix it. Nowhere. So those are the three thieves: survival mode, the comparison tax, joy guilt. And they work together. They feed each other. Survival mode makes you numb. Comparison makes you resentful. Joy guilt makes you feel like you deserve the numbness and the resentment. It's a cycle that keeps you joyless and calls it maturity. Again, here's what nobody tells us. Joy isn't the opposite of waiting. You hear me? Joy is not the opposite of waiting. Joy is the fuel for waiting. Joy is what gets you through it, not what comes after it. I had a moment, y'all. A very specific moment, and I want to tell you about it because it changed everything for me. It was a Wednesday. I know it was a Wednesday because I was doing my usual applications, emails, researching, planning, nose to the grindstone, survival mode, doing all the things. And my phone buzzed. And it was a video from my daughter. She sent the video of my grandsons, Carter and Carson, 5 and 3 years old, riding their scooters down a hill. And y'all, the joy on their faces. The little one, the 3-year-old, he barely kept up. His legs was going as fast as they can, and his helmet was slightly crooked, and he was giving it everything he had. Just full throttle, full commitment. Like this hill was put on earth specifically for him. And the older one, Carter, he's ahead. He'd already gone down twice, and he's at the bottom cheering his brother on. Come on, Carson, you got it, you got it. Like he's the world's most enthusiastic sideline coach. And Carson, he's not even looking at the camera. He's just locked in, face scrunched up, determined, thrilled, like he's doing the most important thing in the world. And honestly, maybe he was. And I laughed. Not a polite laugh, not a cute laugh, a real laugh. A laugh that comes from your chest, the kind that surprises you, the kind that makes you go, oh my gosh, There you are. I haven't felt you in years. And then immediately, the joy guilt showed up. Thief number 3, right on cue, saying, Vanessa, you should be working. You should be focused. You shouldn't be watching baby videos. You should be applying for jobs. You should be stressed. You should be. Stop. I heard it clear as day, not audible, but clear in my spirit. Why are you letting waiting steal this? That video was about 45 seconds long, y'all. 45 seconds of my grandsons riding scooters down a hill like it was the greatest adventure of their lives. And it cracked something open in me. It cracked open the realization that joy had been available this whole time. And I had been too busy surviving to receive it. Let's take a breath because, y'all, I need a minute. And maybe you do too. So let's examine this. How do you actually reclaim joy when everything in you is saying, not yet? When survival mode is your default? When comparison is eating you alive? When joy guilt is whispering that you don't deserve it? I found 3 practices, y'all, and they aren't complicated. They're not fancy, but they're hard. They're hard because they require you to choose intentionally, on purpose, to receive something good in the middle of hard. Practice number 1, micro joys. Stop waiting for the big moments. Train yourself to notice the small ones. I started what I call a joy audit. For one day, just one day, write down every single thing that made you smile, even for a second, even if you immediately talk yourself out of it. My list looked like this. Someone let me merge in traffic, the incredible sunrise over Lake Wahlberg on my morning commute, the first sip of coffee, that first sip, y'all know that one, a text from a friend who said, just thinking about you, a video of 2 little boys riding scooters down a hill like it was their life's purpose. Here's what I learned. Your brain, and this is science, y'all, not just Vanessa being Vanessa. Your brain has something called the reticular activating system, the RAS, and it filters what you notice. If you're scanning for threats, you see threats everywhere. If you're scanning for problems, you see problems everywhere. But if you train your brain to scan for joy, you start seeing joy everywhere. In the cracks, in the margins, in the 45-second videos that shows up on a Wednesday when you're too busy to care. I'm not saying ignore the hard stuff. I would never say that. I'm saying don't let the hard stuff be the only stuff. Don't let survival mode hijack your ability to receive what's already good. Think about it. What made you smile today? Not yesterday, not last week, today. If you can't think of anything, it's not because nothing happened. It's because you weren't looking. Practice number 2, and this builds on what we talked about earlier, the joy versus happiness distinction. I spent months chasing happiness, trying to arrange my circumstances so I'd feel better. If I could just get the job, then I'd be happy. If I could just get past the waiting, then I'd be happy. I was treating happiness like it was a destination, like it was a place I could arrive at. But joy doesn't live in circumstances. Joy lives in position. Where am I positioned? I'm positioned in faith. I'm positioned in purpose. I'm positioned in the middle of God's plan, even when the plan looks like wait. Even when the plan looks like not yet. Even when the plan looks like, Vanessa, I know you want the ocean, but I need you right here, right now, receiving this video of your grandbabies on scooters. Let's go over to 1 James and 2. Count it all on joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face trials of various kinds. Not be happy about trials, not pretend the trials are fun. Count it joy. There's a difference. Joy says, this is hard, and I know who's holding me. Joy says, this hurts, and I trust the process. Joy says, I don't like this, and I'm not letting it take everything from me. That's the distinction, y'all. Happiness says, I'll feel good when things are good. But joy says, I know who holds my future, and that's enough, even when things aren't good. Practice 3, and this is the one that changed my whole perspective. Joy as resistance. Y'all, the enemy doesn't need to steal your answer. He doesn't need to stop the job from coming through. He doesn't need to block the move. He doesn't need to sabotage the plan. He just needs to steal your joy. Because if he steals your joy, he steals your strength. And if he steals your strength, you stop moving. And if you stop moving, you never reach the promise. Choosing joy in a waiting season is an act of defiance against despair. It's spiritual warfare, not self-help. Joy is a weapon, not a decoration, not a mood, a weapon. So keep choosing joy anyway. Keep finding beauty anyway. Keep laughing at scooter riding babies anyway. Keep believing anyway. That's right. Joy isn't passive. Joy is a decision, a daily, sometimes hourly, sometimes by the minute decision to receive what God has placed in front of you, even when what's behind you is hard and what's ahead of you is uncertain. But can I tell you something real quick? Those videos, the ones my daughter sends me, or the boys, she sends quite a few actually, they become my lifeline. Not in a cute baby video way, in a theological way, and a God is speaking to me through a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old on scooters type of way. Because here's what I notice. These boys, they're not waiting for anything. They're not saying, I'll be happier when I go faster. They're not saying, I'll enjoy this once I make it down the hill without wobbling. They're right there, right now, fully alive in the moment they're in. The 3-year-old doesn't care that he's slower than his brother. He doesn't care that his hellbent is crooked. He doesn't care that his big brother beat him down to the bottom. He's in it, completely committed, completely present, completely delighted by a hill and a scooter and the wind in his face. And the 5-year-old, he's not hoarding the experience. He's not saying, I got down first, I'm the best. Not all the time. He's at the bottom cheering for his brother. Come on, Carson, you got it. He's celebrating someone else's run while waiting for his own next one. When did we stop doing that? When did we stop being fully alive in the moment we're in? When did we start postponing joy? When did we start believing that joy belongs to the arrival, not the going? When did we start thinking that the hill isn't enough, that we need the whole mountain? Y'all, I'm going to Mauritius. I believe that with my whole heart. But the joy of Mauritius isn't stepping off the plane. The joy of Mauritius is in the going. It's in the morning I wake up and say, I'm one day closer. It's in the scooter rides, and the hill, and the wind, and the cheering, and the first sip of coffee, and that text from a friend. The joy is in the middle, not at the end. The joy is right here with me right now. So I started saving those videos, not just watching them, saving them. Because they're not just cute, they're evidence. Evidence that joy was available and I almost missed it. Evidence that God was speaking through a 3-year-old on a scooter. Evidence that the middle, the waiting, the in-between season, the not yet, has its own joy if I'm willing to receive it. Now, if this is landing for you, if you're sitting there going, Vanessa, I needed this today, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the series. For the next 3 episodes, we're going deeper into what waiting really cost. And y'all, it's more than you think. So here's what I realized. The cost of joylessness isn't just you feel sad. It goes deeper than that. Joylessness has consequences. It damages things you don't even realize are connected. Your body wasn't designed to run on stress alone. Joy is connected to your physical health, not in a positive thinking cures everything type way, in a real physiological way. Chronic joylessness shows up as fatigue, brain fog, inflammation, disrupted sleep. Your body literally functions differently when joy is absent. I was tired all the time, not because I wasn't sleeping, although y'all, let's be real, the 3 a.m. spiral is a real thing, but because I was running on adrenaline and anxiety with no joy to refuel. It's like driving a car and never stopping for gas. You can go a long way on fumes, but eventually that engine is going to stop. Here's the one that got me though. Joylessness distorts your image of God. When you stop experiencing joy, you start believing God is withholding it. Like he's the one holding up the promise. Like he's standing between you and your blessing. Arms crossed saying, not yet. I had to catch myself. I was treating God like a delay, not a provider. Like he was the bottleneck. Like the waiting was his way of saying, you're not ready. And maybe there's truth in that. Maybe I'm being prepared. But I was framing it as punishment, not preparation. And there's a world of difference. Psalms 16:11 says, in your presence there is fullness of joy, not in your promises, not in your provision, in your presence. Joy isn't the outcome. It's in the proximity to God. And God is with you now, in the waiting, in the middle, at your desk, watching videos on a Wednesday afternoon. And then, y'all, there's the identity cost. This is the deepest one. When you lose joy, you don't just feel different, you become different. You become someone who endures instead of someone who lives. Someone who survives instead of someone who thrives. Someone who waits instead of someone who welcomes. And God didn't create you merely to endure. Y'all hear me? God didn't create you merely to endure. He created you to live abundantly. Jesus said, I came that you may have life and have it abundantly. Not I came that you may have life once everything falls into place. Abundant life, friend, now in the middle. Think about it. If God is with you right now in the waiting, in the uncertainty, then joy is available too. Not when the job comes, not when you move, not when the waiting ends, right now. So here's where I've landed. Joy is the proof that the waiting hasn't won. As long as you can still choose joy, as long as you can still laugh at a 5-year-old cheering on his brother at the bottom of a hill, as long as you can still notice the sunrise over Lake Wahlberg, as long as you can still receive the good that's right in front of you, the waiting hasn't defeated you. I'm not waiting for Mauritius to choose joy. I'm choosing joy because I'm going to Mauritius one day. And if it takes longer than I planned, I'll choose joy in the delay. Because the joy isn't the arrival. The joy is in the going. The joy is in the morning walks and the scooter rides and the first sip of coffee and the faith that says God is doing something even when I can't see it yet. Keep moving anyway, friend. Keep building anyway. Keep believing anyway. And keep choosing joy anyway. Before we go, I want to leave you with some journal prompts because this isn't something to watch. This is something to work. So grab your journal or your notes app or the back of a receipt. I don't care where you write it, just as long as you put it down on paper. Prompt 1. What's one thing that brought me joy this week that I almost talked myself out of feeling? Prompt 2. Where am I postponing joy? What condition am I waiting for before I let myself feel it? Prompt 3. If joy is a weapon, not a reward, what would I do differently tomorrow? Y'all sit with those. Don't rush them. The answers may surprise you. They surprised me. Next week, part 4, we're talking about what waiting costs you physically. And y'all, this one is special. I wasn't ready for how much my body was holding, the tension, the sleep, the things waiting does to you that you can't see in the mirror, but you feel in your bones. That's next Thursday. Y'all, I'm Vanessa, and this is Waves of Change. Thank you for joining me today. As always, you're never too late, and your peace is never too far. Bye.